Today is Monday, December 11. I'm Pastor Anthony, and this is Wilderness Wanderings. Today our text comes from Luke chapter 1. Meanwhile, the people were waiting for Zechariah and wondering why he stayed so long in the temple. When he came out, he could not speak to them. They realized he had seen a vision in the temple, for he kept making signs to them, but remained unable to speak. When his time of service was completed, he returned home. And after this, his wife Elizabeth became pregnant, and for 5 months remained in seclusion. "The Lord has done this for me," she said. "In these days he has shown his favor and taken away my disgrace among the people." It's Luke chapter 1, verses 21 to 25. The people there that day began to get restless, realizing that the old priest is taking longer than usual. Is something wrong? Should someone go in and check on him? Is that even allowed? People were waiting for Zechariah, because he was supposed to come back out to them at the end of this worship service and bless them. So where was he? Why hadn't he come? Everyone knows the blessing is the most meaningful part of a worship service for those who are worshiping. It's one of those places where God's grace is given and spoken directly to us. When Zechariah eventually did emerge, however, he had no blessing to give. He could not say to the Israelites the blessing that God had commanded the priests to say. He couldn't say anything at all. He was lifting his hands, but not in blessing. What was the old man up to? There's not angry signs that he made with his hands. There must have been something on his face, though, and in the way that he gestured, that communicated some strange mix of awestruck joy. The people clued in immediately. Even though Zechariah could not use his words to tell them he had seen a vision, the people understood it all the same. And even though Zechariah could not bless the people, I wonder if they weren't more profoundly blessed that day than they had been in a long time. Because here, before them, stood living proof that God had shown up among them that day. Living proof that not only could God act in their lives, but he had. Right there. They may not have known exactly what it was that God was up to because, Zechariah just couldn't say. But they knew that God had somehow acted to silence the old priest. And in Zechariah's silence, God's own words spoke volumes. "Behold, I am with you," that silence of joy must have said. As Zechariah returned home, his journey remained silent. No one would know for quite some time what God had announced to the old priest in the temple that day. Elizabeth did indeed conceive, but kept to herself in seclusion for a few months, probably to weigh out if she could really take this pregnancy to be real and true and lasting, and believe that God had indeed given her such a gift, and enabled her to carry that gift to term, and birth that gift to life. In the silence of Zechariah's loss of speech, I'm sure those two did a lot of smiling at each other. Slowly Elizabeth's trust and hope grew, as did Zechariah's. "The Lord has done this for me," Elizabeth must have finally whispered one day. The Lord's blessing comes to Elizabeth and to his people in such delightfully unexpected ways. And I think that's actually more often how God's blessing comes. Unexpectedly. Have you ever experienced God's blessing in an unexpected place or way? Perhaps take that memory out again today. Turn it around and savor it in a few moments of your own silence before God. And then, hear the good news from Isaiah 9. "Though you walk in darkness, may you see the great light. Though you live in a land of deep shadows, may you see light sunbursts of light. And may God increase your life, expand your joy, May you be glad in his presence, and may he give you the joy of a great celebration, sharing rich gifts and warm greetings.